So this busy week has been the week that we've checked in on the Black Educators Amplified alumni that have been in the program throughout 2024. And it is so awesome to hear of the work they're doing. One of the favorite stories I heard this week was from a client that is in healthcare that has actually been able to partner with some African country institutions in East Africa to go ahead and launch her services on the ground, on the continent. And something that was so beautiful about what she said, that was really like, wow, it really had me thinking and looking at our sales page and restructuring the way that we articulate the value of Black Educators Amplified. She was talking about her confidence level, and it made me think back to weeks 1 and 2 and the encouragement that we had to do with her and let her know, like, hey, we're seeing all your expertise. You are an expert. You are a consultant. You are like phenomenal beyond your wildest belief. And she's like, I didn't even believe in myself back then. I didn't even want to invest in myself, but I made the decision to invest in my personal and professional development. And literally while she's sitting in a coffee shop, somebody asks her what it is you do, because she had rehearsed and did the work that we do during the 20 question framework, the website copy, really articulating her value, guys. The success that she has when people in these institutions say, hey, we want to pay for your entire stay here. We want you to come in and train our people as a consultant. And this is what we keep telling you here on this channel, especially if you are a Black American or an African that left Africa and went to America to study. Being in that system in the West, you come out with such a level of expertise that when people realize the value that you have, but the thing is, they're not going to realize the value that you have until you realize the value you have. If you don't realize the value you have, you are passing by opportunities over and over. You're attracting things to yourself that do not solve your bigger problems. You're attracting things to yourself that do not solve your bigger impact and expand your territory, versus clients who have gone through the program, done the work, or at least took the footsteps of doing the work, or at least showing a bit of diligence towards their own accountability for themselves. They are seeing the results in real time. Guys, can you just imagine, like, let's say you have a goal of you want to move to Senegal, and you want to, maybe you are an ex-RN, a registered nurse that dealt with pediatrics, and so you want to coach other RNs online on how to leave the bedside, or on how to start their own nurse practitionership, or on anything related to nutrition, something like that. You want to give people a better experience online and more autonomy. You want to show them a better path versus whatever problem you found in your industry. And you're like, man, but I really want to do it in Senegal. I want to do it virtually, and I also want to do it in person. And I want to actually work with institutions, schools, government agencies, different agencies on both continents, on both sides of the world, creating and developing the curriculum. And then once you step out on that little really mustard seed of belief, is what most of the people in Black Educators Amplified actually have during weeks 1 and 2. But as they go through the program and launch and hear the testimonies from others that are going through with them, and like, yes, you can do this. Yes, you've got this. And obviously us coming in as consultants and providing more encouragement for them, they're like, oh, I am an expert. Okay, I can do this. This isn't that hard. This is what I do. But our community, we've been brought down through so many microaggressions, and obviously the slave trade and the trauma and the Jim Crow and all of this stuff. We've been bombarded with all of this mental drag that we always have with us. And until you turn that light on and say, oh, not only am I worthy, but this skill set is needed by my community. When it's more about the community than you, that's where you see the impact. Because still being so focused on you, whether it's from a victim mentality or whether it's from, overwhelm, whatever it is, when you're hyper focused on you and what you feel, then you won't accomplish anything. But when the mission is the impact attached to the people that are going to work with you for the next 5 to 10 years down the line, and caring about our community, because we say this often on this channel, our community is in crisis. We've been in crisis for the last 1,000 years, to be quite honest. Let's look at Africa. Let's look at the state of the African diaspora across both Africa, America, and the Middle East and Australia. Like, let's be honest. Our people are in crisis under, a lot of times, an oppressive system. And the main way to get out of that is through knowledge and education. The lack of knowledge will literally destroy you. The people perish for the lack of knowledge. And so as an education consultant, if you're someone that's thinking right now, you've been looking at Black Educators Amplified, and you've been looking for a year by now, because we're almost completely on 12 months since we launched the program. And if you've been looking all of that time and you're like, wow, all these people have gone through 9-10 different people are actually going through and doing the work, and I'm still sitting here looking on YouTube, reading the blogs, still receiving the notifications. Why won't I take action? Why won't I believe in myself? Why won't I invest in my own professional development? You are worthy, you are worth it. And more than you being worthy and worth it, there are pieces of education and expertise that are inside of you that you have to get out to our community, because people need to learn from your experience. Whether you're in healthcare, whether you're an ex-teacher, whether you're in finance, whatever it is, you have some level of expertise, some knowledge in your field. You have about 5 to 15 years of expertise, whether it's in corporate marketing communications, corporate HR, communication specialists, whatever your expertise is, you have something of value that you need to tell people. And if you are the type of business owner that has your LLC, because we see this a lot, and you've had your LLC for years, and you're like, you named the business, you got the LLC, you have your EIN, you're like, yes, the business is good, it's good. And yes, it's legally good. And you're still paying those LLC fees every quarter, I'm sure. But why are you not posting on social media? Why are you not creating content? Content is the only way for people to know who you are. Nobody is going to know who you are unless you're going to do like the old way of doing advertising and marketing, which was to literally stand outside and walk door to door, knock on the door, get slammed in the face, go to another door, knock on the door, get slammed in the face, go to another door with this sales pitch. Unless you're saying that you want to do that, you need to be creating content online, or no one is going to hear about you. And that's not a good space to be in. If you know your 5-year goals, if you know your 3-year goals, your 2-year goals, if you know you want to come out in 2025, you see the economy in the West and you're like, wow, they're not hiring people. Or you're like, man, somebody just got laid off. Or you're like, dang, these robots keep popping up everywhere. So what's going to happen to the economy? If you're paying attention to things like this, if there's something inside of you saying, you know what, you need to invest at a higher level. You want to live this dream life. You want to invest in Africa. You want to own property. You want to leave behind a legacy for your children. But it's like, are you actually taking the action steps that are going to get you to that goal? Or are you just saying it over and over? What steps are you taking to reverse engineer and get to the goal that you want to accomplish? If you know you want to work with more freelance clients or more consulting clients or more corporate contracts, the way we have been this year, the only way you can do that is by creating content. Literally all of our clients, both the agency side and the consulting management firm, Black Educators Amplified, every single one of our clients finds us through the content we create. Whether it's on here, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on our email newsletter, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on LinkedIn. That's how active we are. And so you also have to ask yourself at this time, am I willing to do the work that's necessary to be an entrepreneur and to own a successful enterprise? Because it is work, and that's something else we've been talking about this week during the calls when we're speaking to our clients. Like, business is absolutely work. Like, business isn't the type of thing where you're just like, oh, it's going to be not a lot of work. Like, no, business is work. You're going to be working probably a little bit more hard in the beginning, and you can get to the level where you eventually can work like 20 hours a week. But when you're first starting out, especially in these times, because the economy is different, you're probably going to be doing a lot of the administration work. You're going to be doing a lot of the marketing yourself. You're going to be doing a lot of the finance. You're going to have to worry about the legalities. You're going to have to think about all these things, developing curriculum, developing and packaging your offers and services. So the best thing you can do for yourself is first understand that business is communal, just like anything else, just like family's communal. The world is communal. We're humans. So just understand that business is communal. And if you try to go at this alone any longer, you will reap the fruits that you have been reaping. And so if you don't want to reap that same harvest of whatever you're going through right now, whatever struggle that is, which is probably, gosh, I have my LLC and my website, but there's nobody coming through. I have my social media up and I have these 4 posts, but man, I don't know what to post next. I have these things, I have this ebook idea, I have this idea, you have all these ideas in your head, maybe in your Google Drive, but you're not actually tangibly driving traffic. And the simple key is that you have to create content. And if you're someone, you're like, I'm already creating content, I'm trying to do reels, I've been doing how-to videos, I've been doing all of these things and I'm not converting clients. The reason you're not converting clients is because you need to change the beliefs of the people that you want to transform, okay? I'm gonna say that again, you need to change the belief. So education consulting, although it is about educating, you're thinking, okay, well, let me just give them more tips, more tips, and more tips, and more tips. But it's like, no, this is what we go through in the 20 question framework. You need to change the beliefs and sit down and have your empathy narrative arc where you're asking yourself and you're doing the market research that we go through with you in the program to ask, okay, what does this client need to believe about themselves to work with our offer? What does this client need to believe about the world? What do they need to believe about their industry? What is the most frustrating thing they encounter in their industry? What are they going through? What are the 3 emotions they experience before and after working with us? This is corporate branding. Every successful business has corporate branding, and small businesses, Black-owned businesses, they're just gonna have to make the decision and say, do I want to be serious about business or not? Because this isn't the time to just say, well, I can't afford it. I think you can't afford to not have a business. That's what you can't afford. It's like, pick your heart. Same thing if you're like, oh man, I just don't have time. Pick your heart. It's either you have the time or your time will be used to be in somebody else's system and you will not be building your own legacy. So at the end of the day, it's like, you need to pick your hard. Which hard do you want to pick? Because honestly, it's hard. When I think of hard, I think, oh my gosh, I would never work a 9 to 5 again. What? That's hard to me. That's like, oh no. No, I need to own my time. I need to be able to pass down an incorporated business to my children. I need to be able to pass down a legacy that is worthwhile, that isn't just, yes, I worked this 9 to 5, made a lot of money. Now y'all go find your own thing to do. We can't continue to think like that in the Black community. This is part of the reason we have the issues we do today. And you'll see the young people do not respect the older generation. It's because the older generation did not prepare young people to get out into this world. This is why you have people in the States, in the African American community, in these hoods, and even in the suburbs, in these areas that are just rebellious. They're acting up, and it's because the older generations are not handing them down anything. You're not handing them down a livelihood. You're not handing them down a business and saying, hey son, sit here and do your video editing so you can continue to publish content for the family company that's gonna put money in your pockets. These are the things that our community has to think about. Every other community thinks like this, but we have ceased from thinking like this because of the trauma of the Black Wall Streets that were all across America, and because of who knows what other traumas and things that our legacy has had to endure. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to choose right now. Are you going to be a victim, or are you and the generations and the community after you going to be victorious? It's your choice. Shalom, shalom.